Hello friends, welcome back to Code Crush Coding. In this video, we are going to create a JDBC mini project where we will perform CRUD operations. And what does CRUD stand for? So it stands for create, read, update and delete. So all these operations we are going to perform on an employee table in MySQL. So this will be a menu driven console application. So you can practice database concepts in a very simple way. By the end of this video, you will be able to connect to Java with MySQL and perform all basic database operations. So we will have a menu like this in our console. We will have add employee, view employees, update employee, delete employee and exit. So you will choose a number and the program will do that operation on the database. Okay. So now let's first set up our database in MySQL. So I have already created a database called demo. So I have this schema or database called demo, and inside it I have created a table called my employee. Okay, this is my table called my employee, and in this my employee the column names are ID, name, department and salary. Okay, these are my column names. And if I try to describe my employee table, so it has these columns ID, name, department, salary, and what are the types? So ID is of type integer, it is a primary key and it is auto increment. Name is of varchar, department is of varchar, and salary is of type double. Now let's check the data that is available inside the table. So I will say select star from my employee. If I run this, so currently there are no records in my table, right? So our table is ready. We can start coding in Java now. So now we will create a new project here. So I will say a file, new Java project, and let's give the name of our project JDBC CRUD, and let's save it. So our project is ready now, JDBC CRUD. Now let's create a class. So I will say a new class, and let's give it a name as employee CRUD app. This is my class name. I want the main method also. Finish it. So our class is created now. So as we know, whenever we need to establish a connection between a Java and MySQL, we need to follow some steps, right? What are these steps? First thing is we need to import the package, then load and register the JDBC driver. So first thing, we will import a package, then load and register the JDBC driver. So how to import a package? Simple. We need to provide here import java.sql. So our package is imported. Now we need to load and register the driver. So basically we need to add the MySQL connector jar here. Okay, so how to do this? So right click on your project, go to build path, configure build path, and you need to add the reference library here. So I will say here add external jar, and we need to add this MySQL connector jar. If you don't know how to download it, I have already created a video for setup. You can watch that. I have provided the link in the description. So once you add the jar, you need to click on apply, then OK. Now you will be able to see your reference library here, MySQL connector jar. So we are done with the first step. Okay. Now we need to establish a connection with the database. So when we need to establish a connection, you need to provide the database credentials. And what are the database credentials you need to provide? You need to provide URL, username, and password of your database. Okay. So that we will do now. So in our program, we will store the database connection details like URL, username and password at the top of the class. So it's easy to change if needed. Okay, so here inside the class employee CRUD app, because we are going to use only one class, and inside that class we will define all the methods for the CRUD operations. So I will be providing my details here. So basically three parameters I need to provide: URL, username and password. So my username for the database is root and password is root. So you need to use your username and password as whatever you have provided. And this is a URL to connecting the MySQL. So basically JDBC, MySQL, localhost and the port on which your database is up and the database name. So I'm using a database called demo. So here you could see I'm using demo because my table is inside this database. My employee is inside demo. So I'm using a demo. Now I need to check if I'm able to connect to my database. So how to verify that? So I need to provide here a connection. So you could see once you provide the credentials, we need to establish a connection with database. Once you establish a connection, then you can perform the CRUD operations, right? So here, what I need to say, so I will make use of connection from java.sql. I can provide here any name, so I will say connect. Then the driver manager I need to use, driver manager dot get connection, and the parameters that I have declared I need to provide them. So I will say first URL, username, and then the password. Unhandled exception you will get, so you need to add a throws declaration. So here inside this method we have added the SQL exception. Now we don't have any error, and just we will check if our connection is getting established. So I will just say here if connect not equal to null, then we will print here this out. Okay, so this is a message here. Now if I try to run this code, so see we have run the employee CRUD app Java program and we are getting the messages okay. So it means we are able to connect to our database called demo. So as we have verified we are able to connect to database, I will remove this part of connection for now. We will just have a main method. I will remove this exception also because we don't need here. Now what I need to do, I need to first develop a menu, okay, for the CRUD operation. So let's declare that first. So inside our main method we will say while loop, while true, while this is true, what we need to do, we need to print here sys out, and we will provide here the options for the user. First option is to add employee. I will say here add employee. Now I will copy this statement, it here. Now second option will be for view employee. So I will say here view all employees, have a space here, add employee. Then third option will be for updating the employee. So I will say here update employee. Fourth option will be to delete an employee. So I will say here delete employee. And fifth option will be exiting from this application. So I will provide here an option to exit. So I will say here exit. And after that, I need to ask the user to enter the choice, right? Once we display this menu, then user will be providing his input. So first thing, I will need a scanner. So I will declare a scanner here, or I can declare it inside this. Okay, I just need to have it once. So I will say yes static, because I need to use it inside a static method. So I am declaring it as a static variable. So I will say scanner sc is equal to new scanner, and I will say here system dot in. Once I have this object of scanner sc, then I will be able to take the input. I will scroll it down, and here we will say this out, and we will ask the user to enter a choice, enter choice. Whatever the user enters, we need to store it inside a variable. So it will be a type of integer, right? He will enter 1 2 3 4 5. So I will have here int choice and sc dot next int. So I will accept that value here. And now as per the user provided the input, I need to call the methods of CRUD operation. Let's say user has entered 2, then I need to call the view all employees method, right? If he enters 3, then I need to call a method for update. So I will make use of switch here. I will say a switch, and inside switch I need to pass the choice, this particular variable, and here inside this switch case I will have the cases. Okay, so our case 1, so if the user has entered 1, then what I need to do, as you could see in the menu, we need to add employee. So I will call a method called add employee. Currently, I don't have any method to add employee. I will just say here add employee for now. And after that, I will provide here break. Okay. Now for now, we don't have this method called add employee. So another cases we will add later. First, let's have a method called add employee and write a logic for adding the employee. So after our main method, so our main method is ending here, right? We will have one more method called add employee. We'll have a method called public static void, because we are not going to return anything, we are going to add an employee. So I will say add employee is a method, and inside this method we need to provide a logic. Now what we will do here, so we need to insert the employee. So basically we will need to add three values here. If you remember our column names, we have ID, name, department and salary. ID is auto increment, so we don't need to provide the ID, but we need to pass name, department and salary here. So here we will first provide one message to the user sysout, and I will say here first enter name. So user will enter the name and I need to accept it inside a variable. So I will have a variable here string name sc dot next line. So our name is stored. Now we need to store department and salary. So I will copy this statement, paste it here. So enter name, then enter department. Department is also a varchar, so it will be stored inside a string variable department, and then we will store the salary. So enter salary, and here we will have a variable name as salary, and it is not of type string, it is of type double, and we will store here sc dot next double. Here if I say sc dot next double, all three values are accepted. Now after that, what we need to do, we need to create a SQL query to insert it inside a table. So here what I need to do, I need to declare one more variable string SQL, and here I need to write the query. So what is the query? To write or to insert a data into database, it is an insert query, right? So I will say insert into table name. So our table name is my employee, so I will say here my employee, and what we need to enter, the column names that we have, the column names are name, department. We need to provide the same name that we have used here, name, department and salary. So name, department, salary, and then we need to insert the values. I have it on the next line. Here we need to enter the values. I will say here values, and we need to pass three values, right? But we will use a prepared statement instead of a statement. So I can make use of a placeholder instead of hard coding the values. So I will have a three placeholders. So first one will be for the name. So name, then the department, then the salary. So this is our insert query now. Fine. After that, what we need to do, we need to establish a connection. We need to establish a connection, then we need to create a statement or prepared statement. We are going to use prepared statement. Then we need to execute the SQL query. So these three steps we will perform now. Use some spaces. Now here I need to establish a connection. So we already checked that we were able to establish a connection. Same thing we need to do. Connection connect is equal to driver manager dot get connection, and the three things we need to pass here: URL, then we have username, and then we need to pass password. So all these things are passed now. Then it will give us an error by saying it will throw an SQL exception. So I need to add that. So add throws declaration. So our method will throw now SQL exception if anything goes wrong. Now once we establish the connection, we need to create a statement. So we will be creating a prepared statement. So I will say here prepared statement PS is equal to connect dot prepare statement. And here will pass our SQL variable that we have created. This SQL variable is created here. So this query or the string will be passed to this prepare statement. But we didn't pass the actual values, right? We were passing the placeholders. Now we need to update this placeholders with the values that user has entered. So how we can do this? So we have this prepared statement object ps dot. So first column that we have is of type string, right? So we will say a set string. We will say a set string, and here we need to pass a parameter index and then the value. So here name is our first here, and then the value is the name. So whatever value the user has entered, that we need to pass here. So I will say a name. Got it? Now the second value we need to update. So that is also a type string. I will say a set string, and this is the third column in our database, but the parameter index will be 2 and the value will be department. So whatever value we have accepted here, that we need to add. Then we will have here third one, ps dot set double. Now this will be a set double, not set string. I will say a set double, and this will be our third parameter index, and its value will be salary. This is the value that we are accepting here. Now we have created this statement. Now we need to execute the query. So how we can execute the query? Simple. We need to say ps dot execute update. So we will make use of execute update here. Execute update. So this execute update will be returning us the integer value of how many rows has been entered. So basically we are trying to insert here one row. So ideally we should get the value as 1. So we will store it inside a variable called rows, int rows. Okay, just for our understanding that it has been executed successfully, we will add here if else, one if else we need to add. Basically what we will say, if rows, if this particular variable is greater than 0, then what we need to say, we will print a message here sysout, and then we will say employee added successfully. So this message we will print. Otherwise we need to print here a message sysout. We will say here failed to add employee. This is our message. Okay, we have done all the steps here. We have executed the SQL query. Now we can also close the connection to free resources. So here, after doing everything, we can close the connection by saying connect dot close. Fine. So we are done with the one particular method, that is our adding employee. I hope you have understood the flow for adding the employee. Add employee, what does it say? Okay, we, as this particular method is throwing SQL exception, we need to add this particular SQL exception in our main method also. So I will save it. So there are no errors. Now let's run this code. So first thing, it come inside this while loop, right? And inside this while loop, we have added the menu here. We will see the menu here. So see, we are getting the menu first for add employee, view employee, update employee, delete employee, fifth for exit, and we are getting the option of entering the choice. So we haven't done all the coding yet. So we just need to test the add employee. So I will just add here 1. So 1 is basically for adding an employee. I have entered here 1, and then I'm getting the message here to enter name, department. Okay, so first I will enter the name. So let's say the name is John, and then I need to, okay, it's okay, for name it's not accepting. Let me check what we have done here. So inside the employee method, okay, let's use next instead of next line. Okay, now let's try to run this code again. So first we will enter choice to 1 to add employee. Okay, now we are getting the choice here to add the name John, then department, let's say IT, and then the salary, let's say 20,000, and then hit enter. And then what we are getting here, okay, So we are getting the message employee added successfully here, right? But as the main method, we have the menu here and it says while it's true. So it will be continue printing the menu for the next choices, right? So yes, we are able to add the employee. We are seeing here message employee added successfully. Now let's cross verify our database also. So I will say select star from employee. See, the ID is auto increment. So we haven't provided ID, but it has taken it as 1 and the values that we have provided, John ID and 20,000. So great, we are done with the first method of adding the employee. Now we will move towards the second method to view the employees. Second option, if the user enters, then I need to provide here a case 2. I will say here case 2, case 2, and let's have a method here, view employees. View employees is a method name. Currently we don't have that method. We will define it and here a break. Now let's add a method. Okay, we need to add this inside this particular switch block. Okay, view employees. So we don't have a method called view employees. We will define the method here. After adding employee, we will have a method to view employee. We will say here public static void, same name as we have provided above, view employees. This is our method. And now here what we need to do, we need to return all the employees that are present inside our table. So first thing will be, let's declare a SQL query. As we have declared inside this particular add employees, we have declared the SQL query, right? But in add employees we were required to have these values because we were adding them. Now here we don't need to add anything, we just need to read the data from the database. So I will declare the variable here string SQL and I will have the query here which will say select star from my employee. This is table name, right? My employee. Okay, this is a query here. Now we are done with this defining the query. Now the same steps we need to follow. We will need to establish a connection. Then we need to create a statement and execute the SQL query. Now I can copy these things from the above table, right? Or the above method. I need these two particular things here. Creating a connection and creating a statement. So here I have imported it. So I need to add the throws declaration to my method SQL exception. Then I have the prepared statement also. Here we don't need a prepare statement. We can go with the actual statement also because here we don't need to have any hard coded values or the placeholders. We don't need them. So I will go with the statement here. Connect dot create statement. So here I need to say create statement and instead of PS I will say here ST. Okay. After that we need to execute our query. So we can say ST dot execute query and we will pass the SQL variable that we have created here, select star from employee. Now this particular statement will be executed. But in similar ways, when we were doing the execute update, it was going to return us the number of rows. What will this particular thing will return? So this will return us a result set. And what does result set mean? So result set is an object that holds data retrieved from a database after executing query. So all the rows that are returned from the database that will be stored inside this result set. And from this result set, we need to extract that particular values. Okay. So there are different methods to retrieve the data like next move cursor to the next row and get it get string to fetch column values. Let's say the first row that we have the ID, name, salary and department. So for ID we will make use of get int, for salary we will make use of get double, and for department we will make use of get string, and to loop over to each column entry or the row entry we will make use of next. So you will be getting clear it when we write the code for it. So here whatever it will return, I need to store it inside a result set. So I will declare one result set here, result set from java.sql, and let's name it at rs. Okay. Now once we get this particular result set, we need to print it inside the console. So what I need to do, I need to have one loop here. So I will say while this particular result set is having the number of rows. Let's say there are 10 entries in the table. So it will have a 10 rows. So for each row I need to get it. So till it has the rows, while rs.next, I will print the values. How I can print it? So here, let me add some spaces here. So inside this loop, what I need to do, I need to say sysout first, and then I will say rs dot. So first column is id, right? So I will make use of get int. And what is a column index here? So column index is 0. That is the get int. Then I will add some space between it, and then I will read the second column value. So I will say here rs dot get string, because the second column is name, and what is its index? Its first index, right? Then I will add some space. Now let's move towards the next line here. Then I need to add or to get the third column value. So I will say get string again because it's department and its column index is 2. Then I will add some space, and then I will say here rs dot get double, and its column index is 3 because the salary is of type double. So this is a for loop that we need to execute. So it will continue till the number of rows, and it will print the values for each row. After executing this loop, we will close the connection. So let's have it here. We will close the connection. So connect dot close. And instead of index, we can also go with the names of the column. So instead of that, I will go with the names of column. You could see here, we will have the option here id, name, department, and salary. So I will directly pass the column names, id, name, then department, and then salary. Instead of index, you should always use the name of columns because it's avoid the confusion and there are less chances of doing the mistake. I will save it. Let's see if it works. Run the class. Okay, so we are getting here our menu. So I will just enter the choices to view all employees. Okay, there is no error. Let's move ahead. Yeah, see, we are getting our output here. So there was only one row, so that row details are print. id is 1, then the name, then the department, then the salary, and again the menu is printed. So good job, we are done with the second method also. Okay, now let's go for the third case, which is updating the employee, and also the fourth case, deleting an employee. Let's do both of them side by side now. So I'm lazy, I'm going to copy it, case 2, and then I will say case 3. Okay, then I will say case 4. So in case 3, what I need to do, I need to update employee. So I will have a method here saying update employee, and after that for case 4, I will have a method as delete employee, and let's declare the case 5 also. And what is case 5? It is for exiting. So I will just say here, we don't need to call any methods. I will just print a message sysout exiting. Okay, and then we will instead of break, I will say here system.exit, and let's pass it as 0. Become out of the application. And also let's say we have provided a menu and we are expecting that the user will print only or provide the choice only 1 2 3 4 5, then we are assuming it, right? So we don't need to assume anything in coding. So for handling the default choice, we will have one default case. So here after case 5, I will have a default, and in default what we will say, we will print here a message is out invalid choice. If anything other than 1 2 3 4 5 is invalid choice for us, right? So invalid choice, please try again, please try again. So this is our message. Okay, now we need to have these two methods, update employee and delete employee, declared or defined inside our logic here. So I will have these two methods. First we will have update. I will say here public static void update employee, so same name as we have provided above. So now we have this method to update employee. And what will be the behavior of update employee method? So first, for updating an employee, the employee entry will be already present inside our database, right? So we will ask the user to enter the ID of that employee, and once we get the ID of that employee, then we will ask him to enter the new name, new department and new salary of that employee, and then we will update the employee. So it's basically like the insert only, the query will be different and we will do the updation as per the ID of the employee. So first thing I will say yes is out. I will say enter employee ID to update. So first I will ask for the employee ID and then I need to accept it inside a variable int ID sc dot next int. Okay, now once we got the ID, then we will print a message here, sysout enter new name. So already the employee will be having the name, but we are updating it. So we will have a new variable here, string name, and we will store it inside sc dot next. As you know, I'm lazy. I'm going to copy this statement, paste it here, enter new department. So here also department. Then I need to have your salary also. Enter new salary. Salary. So it will be of type double, and it will have a name as salary, and also it will have sc dot next double. Okay, we have done the mistake. I need to correct it. Enter, and okay, fine. Now we have accepted all this value. Then we need to have a SQL query here. So I will have one more variable here, string SQL. And now let's declare the query here. So update query. So how is the update query? We need to say update table name. So table name is my employee. Update my employee, set. Okay, so we need to set the name. Name is the column name is equal to, we are going to use prepared statement, so we will have a placeholder here. Name is equal to this, department is equal to this, salary is equal to this, and let's have it in the next line. So I will just hit one enter, where ID is equal to this. This is our query now, right? Once we are done with the query, we know we need to perform the three statements. And what are these three statements? We need to establish a connection, then create a statement, and then execute the SQL query. So I will copy the thing for connection from the add method for adding the employee, as we are going to use a prepared statement. So copy this thing, paste it here. We have established a connection. Now we need to add the throws declaration to update method. Then we have the prepared statement also. Now we need to provide the values to our placeholders. So how we did it for the add method, in the same way we need to do. So set, first is set string. Why we need a set string here? Because the first parameter that we have, okay, the first parameter that we have here, name. So we need to say here first parameter that we have, and then the name is equal to name. Okay, so in this way also you could do it. In the add method we have seen, when we were trying to add this, we were having the three placeholders. Okay, and then we were saying for the first placeholder we will have the value of name, second placeholder we will have the value of department, third we will have the value of salary. In the same way, the first placeholder is name, so we are saying it set string and we are accepting the value of the name variable. The second is department here, because second placeholder is department, third is salary, and fourth is ID. So I will say here set string again for department, which is parameter index 2 and department. Then I will have here ps dot set double, and this will have the third, and here we will have the value as salary. The fourth one, because there is also fourth placeholder which is for ID, then I will say ps dot set int, because it's of type integer and it has a parameter index for 4, and we have stored that inside a variable called ID, right? I will say here ID. So we have accepted all the values. Now we need to execute our query. So how we execute a query here? So here I need to say ps dot execute update. Execute update. As you have seen in the add method also, this particular thing will return us the number of rows that are updated. So I need to store it inside a variable of type int. So I will say int rows, and to have a better understanding how it works, we will have a if else similar to add method. If our rows is greater than 0, then we will say here sysout out we will say employee updated successfully, employee updated successfully. And if our rows is less than 0, that means something went wrong, so we need to print here a message. We will say, and what will be wrong in this case? Let's say here we are asking the user to enter the ID to update, and let's say that ID is not present inside the table. So in that case it will not find anything for this query, right? So it will be not able to update anything. So in that case what we need to say, we need to say here no employee found with ID this, and what will be the ID here? So I will just print the variable that we have ID. So in this way you can write a method for updating the employee, and also in the last you can close the connection. So I will just say connect dot close. Okay, now let's try to run this code and check if update is working fine for us, but we haven't declared here delete employee. So I will just comment out this part, and let's run this code to check if our update is working. I will run this code. Okay, so enter choice, I need to check here update employee, so I will say here 3. Okay, we are getting the message here enter employee ID to update, and in our table we just have one record with ID 1. Let's say I enter here ID 2, so it's asking enter new name. Let's say I say here ABC, enter new department, let's say PQR, and enter new salary, let's say 10,000, and let's see what it does. Okay, let's go up to see, it's clearly saying no employee found with ID2, because there is no employee with ID2, right? So it's working fine here. Now I will again say update employee. Now I will provide here a correct ID. I need to update. So the employee name with ID1 was John. So we will keep the same name John, but we will have the new department. Let's say new department is sales. Earlier it was IT. Salary, let's keep 20,000 only. Okay, and we are getting the message employee updated successfully. Now let's check that in the database also. If I run this query, see the department is changed from IT to sales now. So our update is working fine. Now let's declare the last method that we have here to delete employee. Let's declare it after update. I will say here public static void delete employee. Now in delete employee, we need to follow similar approach as we have done for updating the employee. So in updating the employee, we were asking for employee ID to update. So in similar way, we need to ask the user to which ID they want to delete. So I will copy this statement and I will have here inside the delete employee. So here we will say enter employee ID to delete. So delete, have it in small caps, delete. And here we will accept the ID. After that, we need to write the query here, string SQL, and we will have the delete query. So we will say delete from table name. Table name is my employee. Delete from my table name where ID is equal to this. So basically we are providing here a placeholder. We are going to use prepared statement. And our three important steps we need to do: establish a connection, creating a statement, and executing a query. So I will copy this thing and you know why, right? So let's copy this. Let's paste it here. So it will throw the SQL exception. I need to add it here. Okay. Now for this prepared statement, we need to provide the actual value for this placeholder. So I will say here ps dot setInt. SetInt we need to provide because we are expecting the ID, and it is the first parameter index, right? The first value here. And here we will say ID because that's the name of the variable we are having here. After this, we just need to execute our query. So how to execute it? We just need to say ps dot execute update, and you know this is going to return us the rows that are going to affect. So I will store it inside a variable. Rows means basically an integer value, right? So we will say here int rows, and if it's done successfully, then the similar logic here. I will copy this if else one more time and I will paste it here. And if our rows is greater than 0 means employee deleted successfully. Otherwise we will say no employee found with ID, the ID that user has entered. So this was our logic here to delete an employee. I will close the connection again. We'll see else. Okay, fine. So we are done with all these statements. Now let's test our code if it's working fine or not. So let's run the code. Okay, I will maximize it. Okay, let's see. Okay, now let's first see what are the values that we have. So I will say here view all employees. No, let's first, okay, fine. Let's go with view. Okay, so only one entry is there, right? With ID 1, name John, department sales, and salary 2000. You can also decorate this with adding the column names also, but it's fine for beginner friendly code, right? So we are getting that. Then let's say I need to add employee. Let's add one more employee, Alice, and let's have the department for him as IT, and let's have salary is 25,000. Okay, we got the message employee added successfully. Now let's hit 2 to view all employees. Now we will get 2 records. See, we are getting 2 records. Good. Now what we will do, we will update. Instead of update, let's go for delete. So I will say here 4. So there are 2 IDs currently, 1 and 2, and I say here 3. Then what I'm getting here? So no employee found with ID 3, right? So again I will say here 4 to delete, and let's delete employee with ID 2. We are getting employee deleted successfully. Now let's see whether it got deleted by cross verifying with view all employees. We are getting only one employee here with ID 1, name John, department sales, and salary 20,000. Okay, now I will say here enter choices 5. You see, we are getting the message as exiting. We are not printing the menu here. So what we have done in this code, we have implemented the logic for performing all the CRUD operations using JDBC.